Welcome to the Virginia is for Laughers podcast, brought to you by X2 Comedy. If you're looking to get more out of your Shenandoah Valley experience, then this is the podcast for you. You'll meet interesting people, musicians, and comedians that perform here and find out more about what you can do and see. Whether you live here or plan to visit, listen to explore what makes our unique slice of heaven. Now here's your host, Don Davis Womack.
Hello, Laughers. Welcome to another exciting episode of our podcast where we delve into the vibrant world of community theater. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting two talented actors from the esteemed Friendly City Players, formerly known as Valley Playhouse. It's a local nonprofit theater program known for its captivating performances and strong community engagement in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Joining us are Sarah McClellan and Ben Wilkins. It's their passion for the arts and dedication to their craft that have made them valuable members of this thriving theater community of artists from all levels of experience who want to tell compelling stories, explore new ideas, develop skills, learn from one another, and seek joy. Together, we'll explore their experiences, insights, and the remarkable impact that the Friendly City Players have had on their lives and the community at large. Welcome to the show, Sarah and Ben. It's great to have you two on today.
Thanks, Dawn.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
Yes, I'm happy you both are here. I have had the pleasure of meeting Ben in some community networking business groups around here because when he's not on stage, he's managing the Clarion Hotel here in Harrisonburg. And you, Sarah, I have had the pleasure and blessing to see perform live at Silk Moth Stage.
Thank you.
Yes, you are welcome. Bravo performance, by the way. And you are welcome. And Small World, your husband, is also multi-talented. And one of his talents is writing. And he recently interviewed me for the DNR. So
that's right.
I need to get him on this podcast at some point so the Lappers can find out about all of his multiple talents he possesses. But in the meantime, we are going to talk about the Friendly City Players. And I thought it would be really fun for the Lappers to get to know both of you just a little bit better before we talk about this group. And I have seen both of your bios. Impressive, by the way. And I would love it if each of you could just share a few of your favorite personal highlights about each of your backgrounds in theater. And chivalry is not dead in my book, so I say ladies first, and we will start with you, Sarah.
Sure. So my background is in acting. I trained as an actor, and I pursued an acting career in New York for many years. I started out doing mostly musical theater, and then when I went to grad school, I pivoted to do more Shakespeare and poetic texts. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything. One of my very first jobs in New York was working for this children's touring theater company. And we would do, these like 90-minute shows that packed up into a van, and we would go to, we would tour everywhere. We played in elementary school cafeterias, and we played at, some of the big regional houses across the country. But one of the things that I sort of developed a reputation with them for being a really good understudy. And they had like a dozen shows touring at once. And sometimes, they would need somebody to fill in at the very last minute. And sometimes like all I got was a DVD of the performance and the script.
Oh my God.
And I just had to go on and do it. And I think that, I don't know, I always sort of harken back to that experience because I didn't put any pressure on myself because it was like, there's no way I'm going to get this right. So I just, it was so freeing. I had to, it was an experiment. It was really kind of an exercise in trust. I'd never met these other actors before, and I just had to trust that they would push me in the right direction, and pick up my lines when I dropped them. And it was such a rush. And I sort of think of that experience as kind of a gift and kind of formative for the kind of performer that I am today.
Wow. That is amazing that you took on that challenge and just dove right in. Holy mackerel. Was it a mismatch of roles, or was there kind of there wasn't like a certain type that you landed in because
just whoever was absent that day.
Wow.
I mean, they were all wholesome. A lot of them were retellings of fairy tales or but yeah, sometimes, and they were like original musicals too. So I had to, learn all the songs in a matter of hours. Sometimes I got to put in rehearsal and sometimes I didn't. So it's just, it was, again, like no pressure. I put zero pressure on myself to be perfect. And that's something that I am kind of a perfectionist. So that was stepping out of my comfort zone to just to do that. But what a trip.
What were the ages of the children's theater that you worked with? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, like the audiences?
Mm-hmm. Well, the audience. You said you worked with children's theater, right?
Oh, no, it was theater for children.
Oh, theater for
children. So we were all adults.
I got you. Okay, so the audience age. Children. Yes, right. Yeah. What was the ages of the children?
I don't know. I guess, they were, most like elementary and middle school. I don't think.
Not like preschool.
It was, it wasn't preschool. It was like, they were sophisticated enough
young people.
Shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were funny. They were clever. It was fun.
Yeah. That's fun. How about you, Ben? What's some highlights and favorites of your background in theater?
My background is actually all musical theater. Starting from high school with Little Shop of Horrors, where I got to play the old man. I was Mr. Mushnick, which, it's always fun to play I don't know, for lack of a better term, the villain. And so that was fun. My most scary performance was I auditioned one time on a whim at Oak Grove and was cast as the lead in Deflator Mouse.
Okay.
Which is an operetta. And that was probably the most difficult thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I rehearsed with a broken foot in a boot the entire time and got out of the boot just in time for performances and broke my foot again during.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Ben.
But I never wore the boot during a performance. I shoved my broken foot into leather shoes and the show must go on. So.
Oh my heaven. So I don't remember all the different types of, is it voices? Like alto? What do they call that?
Yep. Soprano, alto, tenor, bass.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you the tenor bass?
I am a tenor. I am a tenor through and through.
I spoke that with 100% confidence. I love it so much. And then you guys have fun facts about you too. I enjoyed reading about and learning more about. So I want to talk about those things too. Sarah, you are a food blogger when you're not on stage and an internet cooking show host at Wingredients.com. What in the world? How did you get into this? And do tell us more.
Yeah. Well, how did I get into this? I've always loved food and cooking. It's always just been a hobby, something that I enjoyed. My life as a struggling actor was characterized by a pretty, I guess a profound lack of control, if that makes sense. And sometimes, and like, and cooking became a way that I could, be creative and be in charge, and I think, and that's sort of where the love of it came. And one day I had a friend, I was talking to a friend and she said something like, you don't have to be an actor if it's making you so miserable all the time. Like, there are other jobs. and she just said, she said, you love food, like go and be a chef. And I knew that, I've worked in a lot of restaurants and I was like, being a restaurant chef is not something that I want to do. I know that's not for me, but it did sort of get me thinking. And I was like, okay, well, if I could have any career in food, what would it be? And the answer was obvious. I was like, oh, I'll be a cooking show host. That's perfect for me. And then I was like, oh, I can't be a cooking show host. That's crazy. But then I was like, I mean, this is the YouTube era.
Right.
If I want to be a cooking show host, like I can be a cooking show host.
That's right.
And it just kind of spiraled from there. And it's something that I thought about and like sort of gestated on for years and years and years, always like, I'm going to do this. One day I'm going to start a blog and I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And then I finally just did it. In 2020 when the pandemic happened and I had lots of time. So a lot of people were like, oh, that was your pandemic pivot, wasn't it? And I'm like, no, I've been planning this for years. I just finally have the time to do it. So so I launched it in 2020 and it hasn't grown as organically, as quickly as I've wanted it to, but it is growing and people are interested in it. So I hope it keeps going up.
Yeah, I hope so too. We will put that YouTube channel in the show notes, Lapper, so you can check her out and follow her. If we watched it, what would the Lappers expect if they watched the show? Kind of give us a little glimpse of what they could expect.
So what the model that I follow is 1 ingredient, 3 ways.
Oh, I love this.
And I focus on, seasonal produce and groceries that are accessible, that you could get in any store. And I think I didn't mean to do it I didn't mean for this to be a theme, but I tend to do a lot of sort of quick and easy 30-minute weeknight kind of meals just because that's the kind of thing that I like to cook, for myself.
Yeah.
So I think all of my recipes have, they're all a little bit creative, a little bit out of the box, and, anybody can make them. They're easy.
And can I just say thank you, Sarah? Thank you for doing that. Because I'm here to tell you, I cannot tell you how many conversations I have had with my husband when we look up a recipe and he's like, nobody's going to have that.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Right?
You're welcome. You are welcome. It is an act of service that I do for you. But yes, my ingredient lists are short and they're always only going to have things on them that either you have in your pantry already or you can easily get.
So that right there is worth its weight in gold, Lapper. So check out our YouTube channel for sure. And then back to you, Ben. You are loving this music and this singing and are ultra involved in our community through a group called Voice. And that is all caps with periods in between them, VOICE. And some people here in Harrisonburg are familiar with Voice, but not everyone. And certainly our Lappers outside the area will have never heard of it before. So can you share with us what Voice is all about and what your role is in that group?
Absolutely. 15 years ago, we started Voice, and it was a group of 12 of us. We were the first 12 singers, and we were all friends. We had all sung together before, but some with each other, others, it was like two or three groups, and we had links, but not all of us knew each other. And so we connected under our founder, which was James Kaiser. who directed the group up until actually this year when I took over for him as the artistic director. And VOICE stands for Vocalists Offering Inspirational Community Enrichment. And what we do is twice yearly, we put on benefit concerts for other local nonprofit organizations. 100% of the proceeds, the donations that come in, go right back into the community. We don't take anything off the top. And, you know, we are singers, we are family, and we love what we do. And we invite anybody to come join us. The constituency of VOICE ranges from people who just love to sing but cannot read a lick of music all the way up to people who are classically trained. And, you know, we come together and we do every genre you can think of. Our concerts, which were just 2 weeks ago almost, we had a benefit concert for Still Meadows Enrichment Camp and raised $3,000 for them over 2 days. And I mean, we had everything from jazz to pop to blues to Aretha to Dolly. I mean, we had everything. And we are actually coming up on our new season. We're going to start rehearsing again on the 30th of July, and that will go all the way through to December. We rehearse once a week. But yeah, all of our details can be found on our website, which is voiceensemble.org.
Excellent. Lappers will be sure to also put that information for you in the show notes as well, because if you love to sing, I think that's a group worth checking out. Wouldn't you say, Ben?
Oh, yeah. Please do.
They're very supportive. I know Misty Newman in that group too, and she's delightful. So,
oh, yes.
There's some good people in there. That'll be exciting. You both have some rich backgrounds, some shared in a way in terms of what you've done in the past, and then there's some crossover, and then there's some differences. So how did each of you get drawn to Friendly City Players then?
I mean, I was invited to a board meeting about 18 months ago or so. My name was offered up to the board somehow. I still don't remember how that happened, but I walked in with kind of a little knowledge of Valley Playhouse at the time. And when I sat in the board meeting and listened to what the board had to say about their plans for the future, it felt like something that I wanted to get in on, because Harrisonburg has been lacking a little bit in community theater for a little while. And we're hungry to grow. Mm-hmm. And so knowing that and working with Claire, who is our president, it's been a joy. She is a joyous human. If you've never met her, I hope that you get to at some point.
Me too.
Yeah, here, cheers to that.
But yeah, I'm excited. I haven't personally been able, because of some health issues, to be in theater for probably about 15 years now, actually on stage, but I'm excited to help in the background, possibly pick up and maybe do some directing upcoming, but definitely being available as support for actors, singers, directors, and the lot.
Love it. How about you, Sarah?
It's funny because I moved to Virginia thinking that not knowing if theater was going to be a part of my life moving forward.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that. Like, I was working on the blog. That was my creative outlet. And I was feeling okay with that just being the way that it was. But I don't know, somehow it found me. I met Claire socially, and we hit it off and became good friends. And I I don't know, she was the president of this theater company, and, and I had some experience and some stuff to offer. And I don't know, I just and I went with her to, they were closing Arsenic and Old Lace last season, and I was just hanging out with her when she popped in during the strike, and it was like just kind of like standing in the theater. It was like, oh, I'm home now.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird. It was a weird experience, and I and so I guess, I don't know, it just kind of, and then it just kind of snowballed from there.
It did. And now you threw some lingo out there that may or may not be familiar to people. The strike is when a play production is over and it's time to tear it down and take it down.
That's right.
So for those of you who may not be familiar with that term, and then Arsenic and Lace is a play, right?
Yes, that was a play that Valley Playhouse produced last season.
Okay. I don't believe I've ever seen that play. What type of play is Arsenic and Lace?
It's a farce. It's really popular. I'm surprised. I mean, every community theater, from every community theater does Arsenic and Old Lace.
All right. Well,
so I'm surprised that you haven't stumbled upon it, but I'm sure you will at some point in your life.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was interesting. Well, it was a shorter stint in community theater, apparently. So, and then kid theater is different. So, yeah. All right. Very good. Well, what do you think, both of you, sets the Friendly City Players apart from other theater groups that you've been a part of?
I think that, a couple of things. One, we're sort of building this theater from the ground up. I mean, yes, Valley Playhouse existed beforehand, but it feels to me that it's sort of, I feel like this is more like a phoenix rising from the ashes a little bit. And I feel like we have a real opportunity here to create the theater that we want to, and I think, that doesn't really answer your question, but we can make this anything we want it to be, and we can make this anything the community wants it to be. I mean, that's what sets it apart. It's at this really unique stage in its, in its maturity. And I mean, I think, and the other thing I'll say is that I think, a community theater serves a different purpose than a professional theater. And I mean, I come from the professional theater.
Yeah.
So, but a community theater serves a different purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that purpose has to do with participation. We're not just creating experiences for audiences to come and see. We're creating experiences for community members to be a part of. And it's important to me that this be as enriching an experience for our artists as it is for the audiences.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. What do you have to add to that, Ben?
Well, I think, to piggyback on that, what's different about Friendly City is the sense that from a board level, we are already developing relationships and community. Mm. And when your board has those relationships and that community, that shows to anybody who comes in that, hey, this is an organization worthwhile. They actually care about each other. They care about the organization, and they want it to grow. Mm-hmm. To what Sarah was saying, it sort of feels like she said, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, and not that Valley Playhouse had, burned out,
right.
But that it just felt like it needed something more. And, you kind of read our mission statement at the beginning, and that mission statement is central to everything that we feel this organization is and will grow to become. Mm-hmm. And I think, we want to create that space for everyone, regardless of age, regardless of experience, to allow them to come and play with us. Because what is theater if not playtime for adults?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a beautiful answer. Yes, the organization's been around since 1966, started by faculty members at James Madison University. So it has seen a few decades, and I imagine changes over time. And now this new opportunity to rise like a phoenix in a beautiful way, just creating something new with a tie to the past is a beautiful thing that does set you all apart. And I love it. I love it.
We love it too.
Yes, we do.
I love it. Speaking of setting oneself apart, I must mention that our sponsor, PrePOPsterous Gourmet Popcorn, does an excellent job setting themselves apart by being Shenandoah Valley's only award-winning popcorn. They have so many sweet and savory flavors to choose from, Sarah and Ben. I can't decide what to eat today, so I have a few of them. Right now, I'm munching on the cinnamon, but I've had a few of those. So now I'm going to dip into this Windy City. It's a caramel and cheddar mix. Have you guys ever heard of this amazing popcorn?
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, love a sweet and savory combo.
Oh, it's got everything you need. And you guys, I love you so much. I'm going to send you some free popcorn.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh, I can't wait.
I know. I can't wait to send it. You're going to love it too. There's so much to love. So check this out. Did you know the kernels are grown right here in the Shenandoah Valley and their factory is 100% nut free?
Nice.
Right? Didn't know it now, right? There are no nuts anywhere in their factory or in the production process. And it's great for gifting any occasion, birthdays, anniversaries, literally anything coming up. So what do you all got coming up? You can send PrePOPsterous popcorn to.
There's always something.
My mom really loves popcorn. I always get her popcorn.
Really?
Oh, this is a good.
Oh, yeah. Right there in Bridgewater, Virginia. If you've not been, well, you've been to Bridgewater. It's not far from Silk Moss Stage. So you know where the Sugar Bean coffee shop is, where they order all the food for the picnics at the Silk Moss Stage? It's right across the street from that.
Oh, yeah, I know it well.
There you go. So that's where you can go. It's a perfect gift. Doesn't require you all laughers to know anyone's shirt, shoe, or pant size. So, Sarah, you can get this online. Laughers, you can order yours today. Ben, everyone, use code LAUGH15 to get a 15% discount and visit PrePOPsterous.com today to save on all this yumminess and buy some. That's PrePOPsterous, PrePOPsterous.com. Oh, my goodness. Ben and Sarah, I'm going to keep munching while you guys answer this next question. I'm going to have to go there tomorrow to get more popcorn for upcoming episodes because these bags are almost gone. Anyway, in your opinions, how does community theater contribute to the cultural fabric of the greater Harrisonburg area? Ooh, deep question. I know.
That's actually it's a multi-level question, honestly.
Okay.
Because, I mean, on the surface, right, you're providing an outlet for someone to be able to not sit in their living room, glued to a screen. It gives them personal interaction with other human beings, completely surface level. But if you go to the next levels, you start talking about your actors and your stage crew and everyone that it gives the opportunity to grow the community. Mm-hmm. And I've met countless people in my, musical theater history that I have kept in contact with over the last 25 years of being on the stage. And you just grow those relationships, and there's nothing like it. If you're in a small, tight-knit cast, it's amazing. You become family. When you're in a large cast, you create your families within that. And it's just, it's so much more than just learning lines and delivering lines. So much more.
That was beautiful. What are your thoughts on that, Sarah?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I think
he answered it so great, didn't he?
I sort of feel like I answered that question. I should have waited.
It was an incredible answer, and I saw you just like taking it in, like, wow, that's spot on, Ben.
Thank you.
Yeah, I bet you have 2 relationships from New York City and Britain and other places that you performed. I believe Atlanta you were mentioning, right? So
yeah, it's true. I feel it's a really privileged thing. It's a privilege to be able to, when you do a gig, it's kind of like, it's a finite amount of time, and you're by nature of the nature of the work is that you have to be pretty open and pretty vulnerable from the jump. And when you're doing that with a group of people, everybody being super open and vulnerable, you become friends like really
quick. Yeah.
So that's the gift, is that you become so close so quickly. The pain is that it always ends, and then it's over and you have to move on to the next thing. But I've made some of my best, longest, deepest, most meaningful friendships doing theater, working with people on shows.
I love that. Can you 2 share some upcoming productions or initiatives that Friendly City players are particularly excited about, that the Laughers can get excited about too, because we know now it's coming?
Yeah. When we launched when we announced our new name, we also announced our new season, and we're really excited about it. The theme of our season is hope. And what we mean by hope is really this, the common denominator of all of our shows is the human capacity to wish for more, or to strive for a better world. And all 3 of our shows this season explore that theme. Some, in some of the shows, the protagonists succeed and their world is, and they find their better world. And in some of them, in Urinetown, for example, they don't. Like, what happens when they fail? Yeah. But our season opener, which I'm going to be directing, opens on August 10th. It's called Tiny Beautiful Things. And it's based on a memoir by Cheryl Strayed, who wrote Wild, and adapted for the stage by Nia Vardalos of My Big Fat Greek Wedding fame.
Oh, okay.
And we just wrapped auditions. We just cast the show, and we're starting rehearsals next week. And we're really excited about it.
Wow. Is this your first time in the director chair, or are you old hat with the?
No, I'm not. No, it is. I mean, I'm not a director. I'm an actor and an acting coach. So I am stepping well out of my comfort zone, and I will be totally honest about that. And so wish me luck, but be nice.
Right.
Yeah.
We're also really excited this season because, within our season of hope, we're starting off with this beautiful straight play, and then we're transitioning into 2 musicals, which I think is a first for Valley Playhouse / Friendly City Players in a very, very long time.
Okay.
And musicals are much more expensive to produce than straight plays. And so that's why they tend to a lot of times step away from that, because it is such a cost incurred by us. But we are so excited to be bringing Urinetown the musical, and then Peter and the Starcatcher, which Peter and the Starcatcher is the prequel, I guess, to Peter Pan.
Oh, yeah, I did not know that.
It's an imagined prequel to the Peter Pan story. Yeah, it's very cool.
Oh, so that's exciting.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a fun season. And Sarah and I are both on the artistic committee, so we're already brainstorming about the next season and the next season and the next. We want to get ahead of the ball. So, but this, for our inaugural season as Friendly City Players, we are absolutely just enamored with the shows we've picked. And I think that we can speak for the whole board in this. Everybody on the board is excited.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that is very exciting. Don't really, musicals is not productions I've really been a part of. So you bring up something that's gotten me really curious. What is it that makes musical productions then more expensive than straight plays, or what is that all about?
It has to do with acquiring the rights to perform the music.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, they just tend to be more expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're not only paying a playwright, but you're paying the lyricist, you're paying the orchestration, the whole thing. And it's been a long time since I've looked at the cost of rights. And when we were talking about it in budget meetings, I was just floored with the difference from the first show to the second show.
I see.
Yeah, sometimes looking at that, you start to worry that it's going to be cost prohibitive.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to be able to make back what we need to? But it's all about making sure that everybody knows what shows are coming, that they know what the shows are about. Because sometimes you there's a line in Urinetown that says a title can completely kill a show. So
I've seen it happen.
Exactly. So hearing the title Urinetown the musical is a little bit like, what? So we're working on ways to kind of be able to promote and get the message across, so that people understand why we're doing this show about Urinetown.
That's going to be fun. Are you going to Urinetown? What are you talking about? I'm already in town. That's going to be fun. Well, this is a great segue, though, into my next question, which is, you brought up one of the challenges in terms of the cost for musical productions. That's one. What are some of the other challenges that the community theater group faces, and how does Friendly City Players navigate through them?
Fundraising, I think in general for any nonprofit org, is the biggest hurdle that we all have to cross.
Yes.
And, you brainstorm and you try to figure out what you can do, and you try everything from sponsorships to memberships to, table readings where people might come, and give a donation to sit in a table reading or a staged reading. we do a little bit of everything. I think in the past, they've even done like wreath sales at Christmas time, to try to just bolster those numbers. And the unfortunate side of it is a lot of times that cost gets, pushed over to our audiences in the cost of tickets. And, I personally, I look at the cost of going to community theater and I go, oof, that's expensive. And then I know now, being on the board, like, yep, there's a reason it's expensive. We have a lot that we have to take care of.
Yeah.
And we don't want to rely entirely on ticket prices, because we also don't want to be beholden to only doing, Annie or, super popular shows that we know are going to put butts in seats. We want to do new things that people haven't seen. Mm-hmm. And we want to do things that are going to be, different and challenging to our actors and to our artists. And, people might not come if they don't know if they never heard of it before.
Have you guys thought about doing the whole TikTok thing where they can see snippets of you guys doing?
Yeah, we are. Okay. We are gonna. Well, I don't know. I don't think we have a TikTok yet, but we could get one. We have an Instagram and we have a Facebook. Emily Winter is is on our board, and she runs our social media, and she does a good job. So. I think we're going to try and do some more fun stuff on social this season, do some behind the scenes stuff, get the phone into the rehearsal room, get the,
because they
actor profiles.
That's right. Cause they don't have to hear the whole thing, but maybe just a little snippet will pique their curiosity of this unknown project that they can actually come see and give to a nonprofit organization that is fostering creativity and talent in our area. I think that would be amazing. I would watch them.
Right.
I would watch it. What kind of support and resources does the Friendly City Players provide to aspiring actors in the area?
We have big plans to start incorporating some educational programs into our season offerings. That's something that's on the horizon, and something that we're really excited about doing. In the meantime, we offer opportunity. I think, come one, come all ages, all levels are welcome. In the show that we just cast, we've got a cast of 6. I'm hoping that it will be an exciting learning experience for them to work with not professionals, but to work with people with different levels of experience than themselves, and to see what that's like.
Yeah. Did you have something to add to that, Ben?
I know that we have upcoming, we're going to be doing a kind of a training sort of session with Mark, who
right.
Yeah, he does our lighting and sound design a lot of times. And so he has a training upcoming actually this month, I believe.
It's next week.
Is it next week?
Yeah. So we're doing, sorry, I forgot about that. We're doing a beginner lighting and sound workshop. With Mark, who's on our board. He's also our technical director.
Wow.
That event is, I think, on our Facebook page if anybody wants to check it out. But I know it's coming up next week, July 13th.
Okay. So by the time we drop this podcast, it's going to pass that date. But what I love, I know, darn it. But what I do love about what you shared, though, was that was going to be my question. When these things pop up, where can the Laughers find more information about it? And you mentioned your Facebook page. The Friendly City Players Facebook page. Will it be on the website, these kinds of things too? Okay.
friendlycityplayers.com is our website.
Okay.
We're on Facebook and Instagram at Friendly City Players. You can email us hello@friendlycityplayers.com.
Oh, That's great.
And so far we have 100% track record for replying to cold emails.
Excellent.
We'll see how long we can keep that up. But Claire and I were talking about this, and it is our goal to respond to everyone's email. And I mean, this is what we're all about. We want everyone who wants to be involved to be involved. If somebody wants, if somebody wants to do something, like, we will find a job for them. I think. Come on.
Yes. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about it from the actor's perspective, or aspiring actor's perspective first. What is the audition process typically look like for your productions at Friendly City Players?
Well, technically, this is this Tiny Beautiful Things is technically the first Friendly City Players production. So again, here we are with this wonderful opportunity to create the theater that we want to see, be the theater you want to see in the world. So I think that all of our auditions are going to be different for all of our shows. They're going to have different requirements, and they're going to have different directors who are going to want to run their auditions differently. And I think something we want to do is support our directors, in their own decision making and how they want to run their own rehearsal room. I think that's really important. I think the common denominator, the important thing for me is that we always create a safe and dignified audition experience where people feel comfortable enough to do their best work. I know from personal experience, the audition room can be a very cold and scary place. and it's important to me that our audition rooms do not feel like that. For my auditions last week, I approached it slightly differently because I want it to be, it's an ensemble play. I want everybody involved to, have a voice in how we tell the story. And I want everybody to feel empowered to, use their voice and use their body, however, and to feel comfortable and free. So we did a group audition where everybody came in at once and everybody watched everyone's work. But before I subjected that to them to that, I sat everybody in a circle. We did a check-in. We introduced ourselves, and then we got up and warmed up the room, quote unquote, is what I like to call it. And it's a physical warm up for the actors, but really it's about just turning this cold audition space into a warm, inviting space. And that, that loosens everybody up, and that makes everybody, feel at least like they're not performing for a bunch of strangers who are going to be judging them. It's, and I guess that's a good piece of advice for young actors, is that, when you walk into an audition room, whoever's behind the table wants you to do a good job.
Yes, they do.
They're on your side. And it's sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but if there's one thing to remember, I think when walking into an audition, it's that.
I love that you provide that, because more of my background's in film work, and so it's a little bit different. When you walk into those audition rooms,
with the camera in your face.
Yeah, you're not singing Kumbaya with a group of people.
Yeah.
It's like, go. So,
and you usually have, to like a sentence to say.
Yeah.
In and out.
In and out. Sometimes you'll have a reader, and sometimes you won't. Yeah. So it's beautiful that you do that. I wanted to ask too, Ben, this is 100% volunteer organization.
Yep.
And you've been doing a good bit off stage in recent years. And I imagine you do need help, not just on stage, but off stage as well. What kind of help does Friendly City Players need, and how can individuals get involved if they want to?
Absolutely. I mean, it takes a village to raise a production. And that's not even a joke. The production is your baby. And they say it takes a village to raise a child. And it's the truth. As far as volunteers go, we always are looking for, help with set design and set painting, costumers, music directors for shows. I mean, if people are interested in any facet of helping, we are more than happy to bring them in and, bring them into the fold and teach them some tools that they will need to succeed in doing this. And, stage managers and assistant stage managers, the people off stage are nearly as integral in the process as those who are on stage. They're the unsung heroes.
Absolutely.
Because if you can't get a quick change done backstage, the show can't go on. Like, that's just how this works. And if anyone out there rather is interested in joining us, they can actually go to our website. And there is a tab that says if interested, and they just can email us, fill out the interest form. For each of our audition processes or auditions, there will be a form that they can also fill out for that. They can email us directly if they have questions. Sarah already gave the email address, but I'll give it again. hello@friendlycityplayers.com. We're happy to get everybody involved. If anyone wants to help in any way, I would be surprised if we said no.
No, we're not going to say no. We'll find a job for you. And like Ben said, beginners welcome. If you're interested in lighting or sound design, but you've never done it before, come and talk to us, because we can find we can find a mentor for you, and we can find an opportunity for you to practice. And the stakes aren't that high. I guess I shouldn't say that. I want the shows to be good, but it's more important for me to create opportunities for people.
Yes. You've taken out the friction points, which is really great. And Lappers, I will attest to you that they truly do answer 100% of their emails. Because even though, I was a part of Valley Playhouse a while back, got all into the comedy and film and all of those things. So I wasn't really attached to anyone in particular or knew who to reach out to get connected to Friendly City Players. So I went to the website and I used the interested contact us to invite someone's to come on to the podcast to be interviewed. And Lappers, are we not here? We are here.
And here we are.
Yes, we are.
So just to, affirm that if you reach out to them, someone is going to respond to you. So there you go. I love that. This is so exciting. I think you've mentioned it, how they can follow you, but just one more time. Lastly, for our Lappers, this is my final question, is how do they, Lappers, stay updated on what's going on with Friendly City Players on social media or otherwise?
Follow us on social media. We're very active on Instagram and Facebook at Friendly City Players. Our website is up to date, friendlycityplayers.com. And again, hello@friendlycityplayers.com. You can email us anytime.
Excellent. This has been amazing. I'm going to tell you, I'm very excited to see this rising phoenix do all its flying and forming and creating and storming and making things. You are welcome, and making things happen. New, fresh energy can actually rejuvenate something that was built beautifully. And because we all change and grow, move it in a new direction. And we wouldn't have this at all without that foundation, without the group of people that said, hey, let's put this Valley Players together. And I think it's really neat too, how you've tied the name from old to new because it was Valley Players first, then it was Valley Playhouse, and now it's Friendly City Players. It's full circle.
Absolutely.
Full circle. So thank you for joining us today, Sarah and Ben, and sharing all the good vibes and goodness on all things Friendly City Players. It's been super fun hanging out with both of you today to talk about community theater and the opportunities laughers can have to see a show, perform, or get involved. I so appreciate what you all do for us here in this community, and I can't wait to see the next production. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Dawn. And we appreciate what you do too.
Oh, thank you. This has been the funnest thing, I think, one of the funnest things I've done is this podcast. We live in a gem. Part of the world is what we are living
Agreed.
in. And
100%.
Best kept secret so far until people start listening to this podcast.
Yeah. Shut it down.
I know. It's been so great. So thank you both. Laughers, to get more information, be sure to visit their website at friendlycityplayers.com. Again, we'll have all their contact information and social media profiles and all of that in our show notes. And lastly, and most importantly, thanks for tuning in, laughers. Out of all the podcasts out there, you picked us, and we think that's pretty darn special, just like you. Until next time, keep smiling. Bye. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Virginia is for Laughers podcast, brought to you by X2 Comedy. We'll be dropping a new podcast every Wednesday, so check back for another uplifting episode. Come to an X2 Comedy show or let us bring one to you. To find out more, head to x2comedy.com. Be sure to share this podcast with a friend, and until next time, cheers.